Hey, welcome to your Sagittarius horoscopes for the week of the 13th through the 20th of January. And this is the last week of Venus being in Sagittarius, adding that creativity towards your financial goals, and coming up with creative ideas of how to deal with that. I think in this world that we live in right now, we just really need to get creative because if we don't, I don't think we're going to make it financially. There's so many different things going on now, including everything just being so expensive that makes it very, very, very difficult for us to use the old financial plans that we used to use prior to now. It doesn't mean that those things don't still work, but it's definitely a much bigger challenge. Venus is in a square or continues to be in a square with Neptune. That challenge is pretty much going on all week long. And what's difficult about it is Neptune's focus on your support system. So to me, this sort of plays out in one of those situations where you have specific financial goals. Maybe your partner doesn't seem to have the same goals. You're not discussing it. You're not seeing eye to eye. No matter how much you put towards those goals, you have somebody sort of taking from that, and it creates a really big challenge. Communication, of course, is always key, especially in terms of your financial goals. But I feel like this is one of those situations where you just sort of, these are the goals that I'm going to focus on. You kind of sort of let your partner know. They go, okay, and agree. Probably weren't listening. It happens a lot. And then you start to implement things, and they start to spend it or allocate that money to different places. And rather than just coming back and saying, hey, we discussed this, let's get on the same page here, you just sort of, that Sagittarius, the smoke comes out of your ears, you lash out, it becomes this huge argument over whose money, my money is your money, blah, 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 blah. It's so funny, actually, in relationships, how common this problem is, where, most of the time it's our money until you want to do something specific, and then it becomes my money versus your money. That happens a lot in all relationships. If it's happening to you, it's not just you, it happens a lot in relationships. So it's really important, first of all, to have these conversations when you're both sitting down prepared to have this conversation. I think one of the biggest communication mistakes that most people make is they sort of say it as a side note, hey, this is what I'd like to do, while the other person is not paying attention, and when they're not paying attention, they just go, yeah, okay, that sounds good. And when you approach it later on, they're like, you never said that. I never heard you say that. And this is also a big communication problem, I think, in most relationships, to where um, the conversations just aren't happening at a good time. My husband is notorious for that. He'll just come out and he'll belt something out, and I'm doing something else, and I go, uh-huh, okay. And then, he's like, well, we just had this whole conversation about it. Well, no, we didn't, because I think I would remember that. Not that, I never forget anything, but I'm also notorious for doing it to him at the same time. It's a vicious cycle. And when it's really important, we have both learned to say, hey, I need to discuss something. It's really important. When do you have a moment so that we can sit down and talk about this and make sure we have full undivided attention from both? It definitely helps to eliminate those problems, those communication problems down the road there. Also, I feel that because we still have Ceres in Sagittarius as well right now, Ceres, the great mother, very nurturing, and I are very nurturing energy going into those finances. So I feel like this is really about financial growth in many ways. And that is definitely, especially if you have a partner, and you're sharing money, it's our money, not mine or yours. Definitely want to have that conversation to make sure that you're both in the right place and on the right track. Um, both of you, so that you make sure that your money is working for you as well. I think we need to find as many avenues of our money working for us as possible, especially in this world where money is just a huge problem right now. We don't want to look for more problems. We want to find solutions. And I feel like Siri's influence in that is, it's like going back in time and sitting down with your mom and having a conversation and saying, Mom, how do I do this budget? How do I make this money work for me? Even if you don't have mom there, if that makes sense. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation through my Coffee link, which is down below this video. I would really appreciate that. I love all the coffee love. You guys are awesome. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, you guys make it a great week because you always do. I'll see you guys next week.